What's going on, everybody? Sam Shapiro back here with more of your Heat latest on FanArc. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Don't forget to drop a like on this video and, of course, subscribe to our channel for great daily content, all pertaining to Miami Heat culture right here, Monday through Friday. Miami announcing Thursday they've signed 4 guys to contracts, hopefully for the foreseeable future. The details of those contracts haven't been released just yet, but I think these are 4 players that could definitely add some depth to Miami in some way, shape, or form. But the first one I'm going to get into, I think, could be the most dangerous asset that Miami could acquire out of these 4 players, that being forward Dane Danger out of Memphis. He's coming off a pretty strong senior year with Memphis, averaging 14.6 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and 1.3 blocks in just 27 minutes of play, starting in 19 of those games, but then leading the team in rebounding and field goal percentage, shooting at 61.5% from the field, leading that team to a 29-6 record, helping them capture the conference championship and an NCAA tournament appearance. So I definitely think this is a quality guy that I really think could help Miami's backcourt or front court, especially because of the dire need Miami is really in of acquiring a forward. And this is definitely a young player that I feel like physical guy could definitely in terms of interior play could really add a lot of depth to Miami in the grand scheme of things. And I just think that this is on paper kind of exactly what Miami needs to add to their roster. So drop in the comments if you think Dane Danger could potentially build a future staying in Miami, playing out and balling out in the 305, because like I said, on paper, I think he kind of checks a lot of boxes that Miami needs to fill in terms of improving their overall roster and finding a forward that can really add some depth to their team, take the load off Bam and Ware a little bit, in at least down low. And again, just a very in terms of these 4 guys, I think is exactly what Miami needs, and I think could be a really good mesh with Heat culture and just what he could potentially contribute, at least down low, closer to the rim in terms of big man type of play. But although these other 3 players I'm going to talk about now are guards, I definitely think they, in some way, shape, or form, could definitely help contribute to Miami's success in the grand scheme of things. And the next one I'm going to get into is Trevor Keels. Definitely an interesting guard that I think could really, again, add some depth to Miami's roster, just because pretty strong combo guard in the grand scheme of things. Was originally drafted 42nd overall by the Knicks in the 2022 NBA draft, appearing in 31 regular season games with the Iowa Wolves in the G League last season. And he kind of balled out, really, averaging just under 21 points per game, a little under 4 assists, 2.7 rebounds, and then that was all, in 37 minutes of play. So he was getting some good usage and was really contributing to that team as well. While, I just think when you kind of look at something like that and kind of the road he has kind of taken, at least in his professional basketball career so far, this is definitely a guy that would probably mesh with Heat culture pretty well. And especially because he's a combo guard, I think could really help fluctuate where he's, playing on the court in any given time, which I think creates a lot more flexibility in Miami's backcourt. And although Miami doesn't necessarily need that right now, it's definitely a good asset that I think shouldn't be overlooked and could really, again, add some value to Miami's roster in terms of plugging in certain players at certain times and where that could benefit. So before this season with Iowa, he also had some stints appearing in 79 career regular season games in the G League, starting in 71 of those games. I just mentioned with Iowa, but also with the Westchester Knicks over 3 seasons, averaging 16.5 points per game, 3.5 assists, 2.8 rebounds, all in 33 minutes of play, while shooting around 43% from the field. So definitely an efficient shooter for a guard. 43% is pretty solid. I wouldn't say it's horrible, but I wouldn't say it's amazing either. We kind of just watch guys like Palo Larson shoot more like 50%, on a arguably more competitive stage. So that's kind of why I'm not super sold on Keels and him maybe being the best ad for Miami, or maybe them wanting to pursue some sort of future with him, but definitely not something to overlook, and I definitely think could be a solid add to Miami's backcourt, especially with that combo guard flexibility in terms of what he could really bring to the roster and playmaking in the grand scheme of things, really. So drop in the comments if you think Trevor Keels could really be worth Miami's ad, and if they're really going to try to pursue some sort of future with him, because quite honestly, I'm not sold on it. I don't totally see it just yet, but who knows? Maybe he'll come in and maybe he'll ball out and he could end up being a solid asset in Miami's backcourt. The next guard I'm going to get into now is I think could definitely be potentially the next Duncan Robinson and Gabe Madsen. Definitely a sharpshooter for the University of Utah. He played all 4 years of college there, concluding his collegiate career as the school's all-time leader in three-point field goals made, and he became the first player in the program's history to record at least 100 threes made in consecutive seasons. Now, last year he started in all 3 games he appeared in, averaging a team-high 15 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and then the team best 1 steal a game, all in just under 30 minutes of play. He also led the team in points, steals, field goals made, and three-point field goals made. Additionally, he posted 10 20-point games, including a season-high 28 points on 2 occasions, and recorded 9 multiple steal games. So, in terms of the two-way play there, I definitely think he arguably could be a more flexible type of Duncan Robinson type of player, just because I feel like we didn't see a whole lot of defensive efficiency when Dunk was in the 305, but seeing the sharp shooting ability from him, not necessarily shooting at the most efficient clip, but definitely getting those 3-pointers to land, I think that's definitely something he could clean up on if he were to pursue things with Miami long term. And I know I talked about him a while ago, but I definitely think Gabe Madsen could definitely be a pretty solid add for Miami and could potentially be their next sharpshooter from at least 3-point land. So drop in the comments also if you think Gabe Madsen could be an interesting deep ball threat for Miami, and or maybe not at all. Maybe he ends up being a brick and he the shooting maybe gets a little less efficient and he isn't a good fit for Miami. I could really see it going either way at this point, just because he's still got a lot to prove, at least in the NBA world. But I definitely could see some sort of scenario where Madsen comes in and potentially is really a scary threat from 3-point land, and that's why I think Miami was smart to at least see how it was going to work out at this point in time. But drop in the comments again what you think. Could Gabe Madsen be Miami's next sharpshooter, or was that kind of just something he kind of lived through, at least in his college days? Now, the last guy I'm going to get into, I had mentioned him a little while ago as well, but Jahmir Young also could definitely be a scary guard for Miami in the grand scheme of things, and he's definitely got a little bit of an NBA resume as well. Definitely a quick, crafty floor general with scoring and playmaking abilities, which the playmaking Miami definitely needs. If we're going to make an add to our backcourt, I definitely think a facilitator and a playmaker, especially off the pick and roll, is really needed. So if Miami doesn't pursue a future with Dane Danger, I think Jahmir Young definitely makes a very solid case for that as well. He signed a 2-way contract with the Bulls on February 19th, and he split last season between Chicago and the Grand Rapids Gold and Windy City Bulls in the G League, appearing in 30 total regular season G League games, averaging 21 points per game, 7.1 assists, just under 5 rebounds, and then 2 steals a game, all in 34 minutes of play, shooting 45%, so a little bit more efficient than Keels in that regard. But I just think that this guy also popped off in the Summer League this year. Just when he was in Vegas, he scored a Summer League record with 37 points against Milwaukee on July 16th. And this is a guy that I was pretty excited about when Miami had kind of, been talking about him, not too long ago. But he's also a guard that I think, because he's got that experience, playing in the NBA a little bit already, could definitely make a solid case for being a good add to Miami, at least for some sort of foreseeable future. But I definitely like that Miami also entertaining a guard with experience like that, also having some playmaking ability as well, could definitely contribute to Miami long-term in the grand scheme of things. So, again, very excited to see Miami, at least, while I'm a little upset they weren't looking at more forwards, and out of these 4 players, 3 of them being guards that Miami had signed, I just think that, it's a pretty solid... That's at least a solid option to kind of look into, and could definitely fulfill some needs that Miami needs really going forward. So Dane Danger, Trevor Keels, Gabe Madsen, and Jahmir Young all getting signed. Drop in the comments what you think could really add the most value to Miami's roster going forward for a potential for the foreseeable future, because I definitely think at least Dane Danger could definitely check off more boxes than the other three players, really. But I think Jameer Young also makes a solid case for that as well. It'd be exciting to see Gabe Madsen be Miami's next sharpshooter. And then Trevor Keels, I also think, could definitely add some flexibility in terms of where you're playing him in Miami's backcourt. So all four signings, I think, pretty solid. But I think the one that would benefit Miami the most would be Dane Danger. Drop in the comments if you agree with me or not, or if you think Miami should have looked at another option entirely. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Your Heat Latest here on FanArc. Don't forget to drop a like on this video, and of course, subscribe to our channel for great daily content, all pertaining to your Miami Heat, right here Monday through Friday. Thanks again so much for joining us on this Monday. I'm Sam Shapiro. Have a great day.